boy. Yeah, boy.
Cheers. You are now watching Create a Steady Hustle with Liquid Cash.
And I want to give y'all a message and let y'all know, man, it is lonely at the top. It is. When you hear somebody say, yo, it's lonely at the top, that's a real thing, man. Don't let it fuck you up. Don't let it, go over your head. It's a real thing. It is lonely at the top because when you start to get new information and your mind starts to expand, your imagination starts to expand, man, listen, you can't share those thoughts with other people. You dig? When you get more spiritually inclined, when you raise your vibration and you start to see things in a different way, in a different perspective, especially if you fasting. You know what I mean? If you took time out to fast for about 3 days and you really get more connected to that higher power and that higher source and the things that you're going to experience in those times, you might can't share with your mother. You might can't share with your brother. You might can't share with your father. You might can't share with your best friend because they're not going to understand it because they never took time out to really fast and understood the concept of fasting. So they don't know that when you fast, you're going to really connect to a higher power, the higher source, which they call as God. And you'll be able to see things, hear things, and do things that you didn't know that you was capable of, especially when you kind of eliminate all of the sugar toxin that's in your body and your flesh start to look a little bit different. You start to glow a little different. Your mind is a little bit more clearer. You feel me? Your skin starts to clear up and you start to download information in your mind, and you dig? You can't really have that conversation with people who still stuck on the swine. You can't have that conversation with people who don't understand fasting, who don't understand the higher power. You dig? There's a lot of people out there that just not connected to the spirituality. You feel me? Because they still operating on the surface level. So I want y'all to understand, man, yes, it's lonely at the top. In my journey climbing to reach where I'm at right now, I was faced with a lot of adversity and dealing with people who couldn't understand where I was trying to take it to. Sometimes I share ideas with people, they might not discourage me, but they just don't understand what I'm trying to do. They don't really see the vision. And that's fine and that's cool because, you know what I mean, God gave me the vision. So I never let him deter me from actually executing on my goals and the things that I want to do. That's one thing about me. But enough about me. I don't even want to talk about me because that's just I don't want to make it about me. I want to make it about just you and the vision that you have. See, the one thing about having a vision, you can't let nobody deter you from that vision. You can't let nobody take you off course. And why they say it's lonely at the top is because you're gonna have to stop doing a lot of things, man. You're gonna have to stop being with the friends that you hang with. You're gonna have to stop, going out and coming home late. You're really gonna have to really switch everything up, man, because right now you caught up and you stuck in a hypnotic rhythm. Yeah, that's a terminology that Napoleon Hill used in this book that I'm reading. I read the book already, but I read it so much because it's so much information in this particular book, man. It's one of the most powerfulest book I've ever read. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And that's one of the most powerfulest book I've ever read. I'm gonna do a whole book of the week section about that particular book, Outwitting the Devil. And he talked about something called hypnotic rhythm. I spoke about it in previous episodes, and that's really the crux of it. That's really the nucleus of it. We get caught up and stuck in a rhythm. We move into the beat of the drum of the environment that we in. So if you're hanging around negative people who always into doing things that really not productive, you move into that rhythm. And sometimes when you're trying to you're trying to move to another note or another tune, you're gonna have to cancel those people out because they move into a rhythm that you no longer want to be connected to. They move into a song and dance that you no longer want to party to, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're gonna have to cut those people out and you're gonna have to be lonely for a second. You gotta understand, you gotta become friends with loneliness. Just to keep it all the way frank with you, man, you gotta become friends with loneliness, man. You dig? You gotta love yourself, because when you lonely and you by yourself, the only person there is you. So you gotta sit with yourself And you got to try to learn yourself and study yourself, understand your strengths and your weaknesses. And you got to feel comfortable being alone by yourself. A lot of people can't sit with their demons. A lot of people can't sit with themselves for a long period of time because they don't like they don't like the person they are, which is a very sad place to be in your life. You should always love the person you are. You know what I mean? Anybody that don't love themselves is man, I can't even understand that thought process. You know what I mean? Because I love me so much. When somebody is going through something and they feel like they don't love themselves or they feel some type of way about themselves, I really don't resonate with that type of thought process, because I've spent so much time by myself that I got to learn who I am. And even my flaws, I love my flaws. And I decide not to change certain flaws because it makes somebody else uncomfortable. Certain flaws you got, you can keep, long as it doesn't hinder you from actually making progress in your future, trying to accomplish a goal. But other than that, you can have a flaw that you love about yourself and you can keep that flaw. Make sure that your strength overpowers your flaws though. You can't have a bunch of flaws and no strengths. You got to make sure that on the Libra scale, the strength outweighs the flaws. So yeah, you have to become friends with loneliness. Loneliness has to become your best friend. You dig? And you have to sit and you got to talk to yourself and you got to ask yourself certain questions so you can discover the answers. Anytime you connected to the higher power and you take time out to fast for 3 days and you ask yourself a question, I can guarantee you're going to come up with the answer. I don't care what kind of question it is. Trust me. If you go and you decide to say, you know what, this week I'm going to fast for about 3 days. On that third day, you're going to be downloading so much information in your mind. You're going to start to feel overwhelmed and power with information that's going to really put you in a location of where you need to be, because at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want information, you want knowledge, right? In order to get that, in order to figure your situation out and try to uplift yourself from your trials and tribulation and the things that you're going to, you're going to have to tap into a higher power. You're going to have to fast from the surface level things. You might have to detach from the worldly things, and you have to ask yourself certain questions and wait for the answer. You got to shut up and listen. Yeah, you got to shut up long enough just to listen to the answer, because the universe is going to speak to you. That's what I want you to understand. The universe is going to speak to you. It speaks to you all day, every day, but you're just not paying attention because you're so caught up on the surface level. You're not seeing when God really speaking to you. You're not really understanding his language. God don't speak like how we speak. The universe is not going to talk to you the way we talking to you. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it can come in the form of another person, and that person could tell you something and you'll feel like, okay, that answered the question that you had. You dig? Sometimes that happens. That happened to me one time. I fasted for 3 days, right?